Hello and welcome to this episode of the Blog Chronicles. I am your host, Matthew Loomis. This show is sponsored by BuildYourOwnBlog.net, the full-service destination for people who want to start their own WordPress blog and achieve long-term success. My guest today is David Boozer. David blogs from his home office surrounded by the beauty of Oregon. He has lived up in the great Northwest his entire life. In fact, when he was 13 years old, he had his first encounter with Bigfoot. And then years later, David and his mom had another encounter with Sasquatch. This was something I did not know about David before. Now, if you want to hear David's Bigfoot stories, subscribe to the Blog Chronicles on YouTube and sign up for my email newsletter because I'm planning to have David come back on to share these stories with us. Today, I'm going to talk with David about blogging tips. David has been a blog consultant and online business owner for many years now. He's getting lots of success with the content he creates, his videos and blog posts, and the knowledge he's learned about SEO. These have all helped him land some pretty big clients seeking his blogging expertise. And David is always a lot of fun to talk to. So let's go into the foggy rainforests of Oregon and see if we can find David's blogging secrets for making a big footprint with your blog by adding his story to the Blog Chronicles. Hi, David. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Matthew.
Yeah, so how's the online lifestyle treating you?
For the better part of a decade, you cannot argue with it at all, ever. There is good days, there are long days, but tell you the truth, just having the freedom is pretty much worth the battle.
Absolutely. Freedom. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how long have you been living this online lifestyle?
As a matter of fact, this is my 7th year online. I got my start back then through an internet marketing training program that had an affiliate part to it. And I started out just learning there with a good coach and a good mentor for internet marketing. And that was really it. It took me about 4 months to really get the hang of everything. But at the end of that 4 months, I was working from home.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're a blog consultant at home. Is that right?
I do basic internet marketing coaching, but for the most part, when you really start to think about a web presence online and marketing, your website and your blog is basically the center of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That is the world. And all the stars and all the other planets that align around it, that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
That blog and that website is where you want to bring everyone.
So you like to call yourself a blogger at first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I really do prefer the term professional blogger. I've just come to that, and video have probably become two of my biggest passions online. I love writing. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you told me it was actually in an email that you love video now too.
Yes. I think video and blogging go hand in hand. I'm one of those guys who truly believes that it's a really good SEO, 1-2 punch to have that video in there. It really personalizes the content itself.
Yeah.
And, really, I would attribute it that probably a huge part of my conversion rate for subscribers comes because of the videos within the blog posts.
Oh, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you're on YouTube. Are there any other channels you're using video with?
I used to use Dailymotion a bit. I still do from time to time, just as kind of a backup place to have videos. You can actually go there and find some of the oldest videos that I have where, and I'll make the really annoying sound for everybody, but I had this camera that my wife had, and it would be like, while I was recording these videos for these blog posts back then, or articles. And so you can see the transition of over time as you gain more knowledge and you get better at your craft. And then, so I left it all out there in,
You said Dailymotion?
Dailymotion. That
Okay.
was pretty, it's still out there. It's still available. So, but
Okay.
YouTube is the channel. I mean, that's the second largest search engine on the planet. So,
Yeah, right.
you know.
Well, if I can find your Daily Motion page, I'll link to that in the show notes.
It's in there somewhere. I really don't go there too often anymore. Once in a while, I'll back up a really good video and throw it up there, but
Yeah,
it's very rare.
that's been a long time since I've heard Daily Motion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So, excuse me, as a blog consultant, how many bloggers would you say you've helped in your career?
Oh, man. Up to this point, um, I really couldn't count how many. There's just been so many people. Of course, if somebody screams off, I've helped 2,000 people, you can almost guarantee that it's probably been about 5 to 700 of them that really succeeded with it
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people just fall off.
Mm-hmm.
They do. It's not, probably your fault. It's probably has nothing to do with your coaching or mentoring or anything. It's just sometimes life throws curves,
Hmm.
and sometimes people don't know how to hit a curve.
Yeah,
And
that's
until they learn,
yeah.
then that's kind of what happens. I would say
Hmm.
probably around, the 1,500 mark,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere right around there. I have consulted for a few very large companies, two of them very well known international companies from a blogging standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
One of them actually has my blog training system in their back office.
Hmm.
It is a giant MLM company, of course. It's in the Fortune 500 one, but
Okay.
I like it. I liked doing that. It was fun. I got paid to do it, so
Yeah.
you can't go wrong there.
Right.
But it was really fun just to put the training together and really get kind of connected with that particular community and help them.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. So, based on all the bloggers that you've helped over the past 7 years, whether they were solopreneur or a large brand blog, what would you say determines, or what have you determined to be the leading indicator of a successful blog, or indicators, plural? By leading indicators, I mean, what are the early signs that forecast a blog's future direction, both good and bad? Can you tell us what are the leading indicators of good and bad blogs?
First off, I think the leading indicator of a good blog is going to be persistence. It's the person that gets out there and just says, you know what, I'm going to do this. Nothing
Mm,
will stop me. I'm going to create content. And even if you're like me, I was a very poor writer at first. Thank goodness for Grammarly. Um, Today I rely on Grammarly. But at first, the writing was not only horrible, but it was what it was. But I got better at it. And I think that's
mm,
one of those leading indicators is people out here not afraid to go out and, maybe start off and know that, hey, you know what, this is a little lackluster, but I know I can do better.
mhm,
And guess what? They keep doing it and they keep doing it. I have a guy that I coached who has a blog out here for network marketing, and he's been doing that for 3 years now. And he finally hit, I think, in 2015, a seven-figure income from
mm,
that company, uh, just blogging away and making videos in that blog. And so he had generated a huge list, and it worked out really well. But he didn't
mm,
stop. I mean, he just kept going. The
mhm,
indicator of failing this is not doing that. It's just no action. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is really horrible. I can't do this. You quit
mm.
before you even started.
Yeah, right.
Blogging and learning to blog and all of this, it's persistence that pays off. There's no
Yeah,
magic software. There's no trick. It's just you get in and you do. And you
right,
do it until you master it. And
right,
guess what? You never master blogging. So there's the whole thing. You never master it.
right,
You're just always bettering it, and you're just
right.
getting better at your craft.
And
Me,
things are always changing, so you have to learn new things
they are.
and
The
adapt.
way in which I used to write from a less personal standpoint. Today it's full of cool stories
Mm,
and, my own interesting take on things and my own personal humor, which can be very rough around the edges from time to time for people. But at the same time, I think it's that hook
yeah.
that I have. And
Right.
so, but as far as leading indicator of a successful blog is the person that goes out here and that's my 2-year-old. If you hear that in the background, I got 5 kids altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow. I didn't know you had
uh,
five.
I
Okay.
have five actually. I have 5 children, and we
Wow.
homeschool. So um, that lead indicator of success is just persistence with a blog. Blogging success is all about persistence. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine taught me that a while back. His name is Ryan Biddulph from Blogging from Paradise, one of those brilliant bloggers out there.
Yeah, Ryan's been on
You.
the Blog Chronicles. Yeah.
Yes, he's a good friend of mine, and we talk often. And he told me the same thing. He was like, "You know what got you here, right?" And I was like, "Persistence." And he was like, "That was the ticket."
Yeah.
It's like the only way to fail here is not, it's just no action, no action.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's it. It's the
Right.
only way to fail. So you want the lead indicator of failing at blogging
Hmm.
is by not blogging,
Not doing anything
just not doing
or
it,
stopping.
getting up and stopping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I just published a post called How to Win a Gold Medal in Blogging. And
Yes.
I said, you know, it takes desire because that desire carries you to persistence. Through
Yes.
persistence, you know, where do you think that desire comes from?
Personally, I am a believer.
Bill collectors, maybe?
Bill collectors. Actually, I'm a believer. I'm a Christian fella, and I believe that this kind of desire is kind of
Hmm.
built into us. This whole, um, you know, uh, gosh, how do you say it? That is such a interesting realm of
Hmm.
discussion.
Hmm.
Where does that come from? For me, it came from the fact that my father ruined me for employers
Hmm.
because he had gone out and started a carpet cleaning business when I was 12 years old. By the time I was 13 years old, he stopped working graveyard shifts in a lumber mill in the Pacific Northwest, and he was cleaning carpets for the next 26 years.
Hmm.
So I watched him build a business, and I watched him run and manage that business successfully until he passed away a year ago.
Hmm.
And after that, I got into my 20s, and I'm telling you, my desire was to be my own boss, was to work at home and just gain that freedom of time. I wanted time, time,
Hmm.
time, time. MLMers will tell you that. Affiliate marketers, anybody who's into home-based business or working from home or being a freelancer online, they'll tell you, I want time.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And so I went through my 20s trying to figure out what to do while I was canned from probably 8 or 9 jobs. I got fired constantly.
Hmm.
My mom was like, "Yeah, you can't keep a job." And I was like, well, it was like the last employer just offered me a quarter raise. I was like, I told him to keep it.
Oh, oh wow.
I did. I told him, why don't you just keep this and you can give it to charity or something? Because I mean, a quarter really isn't going to change my life. But
You're talking a literal quarter?
a literal quarter and this was back in like mid 90s, and I was a single dad raising a kid on my own. And yeah, they offered me, they were like, hey, you got that full 25-cent raise. And I was like, what? You serious?
Oh,
And they
wow.
thought I was like surprised and happy. And I was like, why would I be surprised and happy? I was like, it's a quarter, dude. I was like, you know, I was like, no, I don't need the quarter. It's okay. I'll find something else to do here shortly. And it was just a
Yeah.
couple months later, I found something else that paid $1 more an hour and went there. So, what motivation? For me, it's just time. It's just time with my family. We homeschool. We take off on a Monday to go to the coast and have lunch,
Hmm.
come back because I'm only 50 minutes away.
Yeah, you live in a very beautiful part of America.
Yeah, yeah. I've lived in Hawaii. I have traveled quite extensively around this part of the hemisphere, but I always came home. This
Mm.
is home where I am here in the Pacific Northwest in Southern Oregon. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's gorgeous up
Yeah,
there. You make me want to go up there when I
it
see your
is.
pictures. You
Oh,
know?
it's beautiful here. As a matter of fact, I take half the pictures that I publish out here, half the pictures on my blogs and stuff like that. I will
Hmm.
take those pictures. So,
Yeah, closest I've been is Northern California. I need to get
hey,
up
that's some
there.
good Sasquatch Sasquatch territory. I run a site and a blog for an author for Bigfoot, WilliamJevning.com, and I run his blog and stuff. And right now we're working on more material for it, but that thing gets probably about 1,500 hits a day.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's always an interesting topic. Wow.
It is. I built another blog for a guy named Freeman Fly who has a lot of actor friends from Hollywood. He runs this like conspiracy site, and I think that his site is up to what is it, about 9,000 hits a day now, I think.
Hmm.
And he has quite a bunch of followers on his podcast on iTunes. I think around 1 million a year.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
But he was having a hard time, and this is why blogging is so important. He had a hard time getting people to his website because it was just nasty ugly.
Hmm.
And he actually polled people. He actually went out there and did that whole Ryan Levesque thing where he's like, ask, ask what's going on.
Yeah.
And so he asked them, and they said, your website is just ugly. We don't want to show it off. And so he came to me one day and said, I need this fixed.
Since you
So,
brought that up, the whole conspiracy niche,
mhm.
is that a good niche? The strong
I,
niche?
like I said before, I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I really don't buy into a lot of crazy stuff out here,
Yeah.
personally. But if you do, if you love that stuff and you're really interested in, I do believe there is conspiracy out here and all that stuff. And I'm a believer in Bigfoot for crying out loud. But
Oh, so
um,
you do actually believe? Interesting.
I've actually that's for another interview if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Me and my mother actually had an experience, so it's something
Oh.
that yeah, it was very weird. I was about 13 years old. It was very very weird. And then 20 years later, same experience about 2 miles away from the same place. So it was kind of
Wow.
interesting. Yeah,
I may have
but
to do another show with you.
we will. It was actually really interesting. People love the story. It was pretty good. But as far as niches are concerned, conspiracy niches, things like that,
Hmm.
somebody was like really hit by me the other day because I told him, he was like, what's the best niche out here? And I was like, find your passion, build on it.
Yeah.
He was just like, that was awesome. I was like, well, it was a pretty simple, straightforward answer.
Right.
Because I was like, I mean, any niche is really popular. Some people ask me, like, well, what about really, highly competitive niches like conspiracy? Conspiracy is actually a highly competitive niche.
That's what I
And
would think. Yeah.
yeah, but I tell people, well, guess what? You're guaranteed traffic because
Right.
it's popular. All you have to do is just get out in front of that traffic.
Hmm.
And to really pull in a piece of that pie or slice a piece of that pie off is really just to get out there in front of it and really create your own unique brand. You
Hmm.
Google Internet Marketing Coach, I'm number one in Google.
Hmm. Internet
And
marketing coach, huh?
yeah, and how do you do that? Well, how did I pull that off? It was time. I blogged. I created a good blog. I used, multi forms, different types of content in there, from imagery to infographics to video. I went very heavy on video,
Hmm.
audio here and there, and it was after that was just time. So,
Hmm.
and my competitive niche, apparently, there's almost 4 million search results for that.
Wow. That's pretty great accomplishment there.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, there was a big time affiliate marketer out of the UK, and he was like, dude, how did you get that? And I was like, patience, time, and a lot of blogging.
Right.
I was like, if you know your marketplace and you just spend some time talking about it and helping people, you'll get there. Period.
Great stuff, David. So, whether it's blog consulting or Bigfoot, what are three things that a blogger could do today in just 30 minutes that would help them get their blog moving in the right direction?
In 30 minutes, the first thing that I would do is I would take that 30 minutes and I would turn it into 30 minutes a day where you write at least 350 to 500 words. Anybody, even a finger pecker, can write 350 words in 30 minutes.
Mm.
If you can write, say, 350 words in 30 minutes for the next 3 days, well, then you've got like just shy over, 1,000 word piece of content for this week. Slap a good video on that thing, good imagery, link that thing out there, go out there, share it out, and boom, next week, rinse, repeat. If you can
Mm.
do that just 30 minutes every day, You want a secret to a successful blog, and that's the persistence. That's where the persistence comes in, and you just keep doing it over and over. I never cared what people were going to actually think. I didn't care what people around me thought. What's he
Mm.
trying to do online? What's he trying to? I just kept writing. I just kept creating. I just kept going. And so I took my 30 minutes a day. As a matter of fact, what I did when I first started, I woke up an hour extra early every morning. I went to bed an hour later every night for 90 days.
Hmm.
And I wrote and I made videos and I published and I shared over and over and over.
So, in today's busy culture, how does someone make the time to blog like that? Well, you,
You
you just gave
unbusy
us one
yourself.
answer.
You unbusy yourself. I don't care how busy the culture is.
Right.
Bloggers, we write. We make the time to write. You can ask Brian Clark. You can ask Jeff Goins. You can ask Ryan Biddulph. Ryan Biddulph would publish a literal ebook of 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 words in a day
Mm-hmm.
because he took the time to do it. He unbusied himself. I mean, what is so busy about our world right now? What's so busy about your world? Somebody looked at me one day and he said, Dave, I love what you do. I wish I could do what you do. I really do. I mean, it's one of my biggest goals in my life. But guess what? I just don't have the time. And I looked at him and I said, exactly.
Mm.
That was it. Exactly. Pause for effect. It was just boom. Exactly. You don't have the time because you don't make the time. The world isn't busier. It ain't no busier than it was when in the 80s or 90s or the early 2000s.
Right.
I don't see how the world has become busier, so busy that you can't get your stuff done, that you can't build your dream. Unbusy yourself. That's what I tell people.
That was well said, Mr. Boozer. So, for someone with an online business, then, how much time should they spend on their blog?
Well, I think I went a little overboard with the hour extra early in the morning and the hour in the evening. But then again, 4 months, 120 days later, I actually called up my general agent. I was doing insurance at the time, and I was one of their leading salesmen. And what we called ourselves insurance producers here in the Pacific Northwest. And I quit. I was like, I'm out later. That was it. I hung up the phone.
Hmm.
I deleted phone numbers from them and
Hmm.
everything. I was done. I was out of the business.
That was your
uh,
final step.
that was the final statement. I was like, I'm
Okay.
out later. And I hung up the phone. And, you know, uh, how much time should you, I think that you should put in the time that you should just set time aside. I mean, it could be a half hour a day, like we were just saying, a half hour a day to write 350 words. Do that every single day for 3 or 4 days. And on the fifth day, make a video, embed it, get a featured image on there, publish it out, share it out.
Yeah. Well, how much
Because if it,
time would
Mhm.
you say the beginner should, spend time as far as editing and making sure, the grammar is perfect and all that?
I suggest Grammarly. I really, really do. It's kind of a shortcut tool to help you, especially with people like me who still have punctuation and grammar issues.
Hmm.
Grammarly is a great tool. If you get it for free, wait a few days and they're going to give you this huge discount on it. It went from like $140 to like 76. So,
Hmm.
and then I got that for a year. I mean, I'm locked in at $76 a year for Grammarly and it was just awesome. But
Hmm.
that's kind of what I use as far as that's concerned, as far as editing is concerned. Try not, I'm like Ryan. I don't really spend a whole lot of time editing so much. I just make sure that things are spelled right, punctuation's there, grammar's decent. For the most part, I do write like I talk. There are people who believe that you should, and there's people that are like, I don't know if that's something that's real. I believe it's
Hmm.
real. I believe it's true. Write like you talk. Just make sure that the
Yeah.
punctuation is decent and your spelling's correct as much as possible. Being 100% perfect in a blog kind of scares me. Um,
Right.
I love the fact that people make mistakes. I'm not much for edited videos. Just give me a good
Hmm.
whiteboard and step out in front of it with a cup of coffee in your hand and tell me what I need.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Spell it out in your blog. So spending time editing, not too much time. Just read through it a couple times. If it all sounds good, it all looks good, and Grammarly's got everything picked out, you're good to go.
I'm glad
Um,
you brought that up, that you don't have to be perfect, especially
no,
starting out.
no, no, never. I used to write on e-sign articles when you started out online about, 7 years ago. You could get away with a video, a landing page, and e-sign articles. And I'd write little 350 word articles and get them ranked on Google like the next day.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's where I got a lot of my traffic at first. But eventually, about a year and a half later, I turned to WordPress and I never looked back. I
Hmm.
just started messing with WordPress and started blogging. And the next thing you know, I just got good at WordPress theme designs, working
Hmm.
with theme designs and blogging. I just got better. And today I get probably a few score opt-ins every single day when I wake up. They're just there.
Yeah, good stuff there. WordPress is awesome, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
I think
now
it's,
that, David, now that you've been doing this for a while, what would you say makes a good content marketing strategy?
oh, that is the perfect question. I love this one. As a matter of fact, in my free video series, I actually have a content marketing strategy that I put people on.
Ah,
We're talking about content marketing. We're not talking about just going out and, trying to buy a bunch of traffic on Facebook or, PPC or anything like that. And I've run PPC things. I got my start actually in SEO for the most part. I was doing a lot of SEO work.
mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as a perfect content marketing strategy that works over time, something that pays off after, say, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, that's just wonderful, is blogs, videos, imagery, share, blast it out. I have this little 5-step process. You write the blog post, you get that topic matter, and you write the crud out of it. You just write a great piece of content. Then you make a video for that on YouTube. And people are like, how do you get ranked on Google like, 75% of the time with almost, either one or two, both links for a video and a blog post? And I tell them, that's easy. I just embed the stupid video on the blog. It's pretty common
Yeah.
sense. So I write that blog post. I format it for mobile, and there's some little tricks to the trade for that, which is smaller paragraphs, subheadings, bullet points, doing whatever you can do to sit there and make things, readable,
Mm-hmm.
easier to consume on mobile. But I embed the video underneath the more tag every
Mm-hmm.
time so that it's not sitting there blatantly in my blog page. I just think it looks kind of off. So, but once they go to that page, they don't have to scroll if they're on a desktop or a laptop to see that video. They only have to scroll just a tad bit if they're on a mobile device of any kind. But that video is there. That video is specific to that particular blog post. I use the same title. I break the title up in the tags in the video. I break it down the first 3 paragraphs in the description of that video. When I share it in YouTube for the social media, I use the first paragraph, 2 hashtags, and a link. And then once that's published to YouTube, I embed that on there. I add that I embed it on the blog post. I find a really good featured image. I like to go to places like bossfight.co, Pexels. I'm actually a contributor on
Mm-hmm.
Pexels.com. I find a really good image there, or I take my own pick. I make sure that my links are on there, make sure it's formatted well, got my embed on there, read through it 2 or 3 times, boom, publish. Once I publish this, I go out and I share it to my social media. I do not use any sort of automated publishing social media tools. There's buttons on my page. I just share it from there. I just make sure that I add content when I need to add content, add a hashtag when I need to add a hashtag.
Do you
I
share the same thing multiple times?
I will share it to each profile or page once, and then I will go and I will share it to, say, groups. I think one of the best things that you can do real quick each week is I publish on Mondays on
Mm-hmm.
davidboozer.com. You'll always see a blog post on a Monday. So I publish it on Monday. And what I'll do is after I share it to my social media, I will go into like Facebook groups. I will find 3 or 4 different Facebook groups, share that piece of content there where it matters to a specific group. And then by Thursday or Friday, I will go in and find 3 or 4 more groups that have everything to do with that subject matter, and I will share it there once again. Not to mention, I email blast this out to my email list,
Mm.
and then that's also, how that gets shared out there. Not to mention at the end of every one of my blog posts, there's a polite, nice little CTA on there that says, "Hey, if you got a moment, could you share this?"
Mm.
And so I have that on there with a little picture of me underneath and a little God bless. And then, if they want to share it, that's great. That little tiny content marketing strategy has been a firestorm for me. It's just been awesome. Um, it's just been, it just is what it is. I mean, and I do it every week. Every single week, nonstop. Right now, I have content written between now and Christmas that gets published on Mondays.
So how far in advance are you writing the Monday published article?
Usually, let's see, September, October, November, December, usually about 4 months. Is that far too much? I think I'm going to start cutting that down to maybe 60 days in advance, maybe 2 months. Right now I'm writing content and publishing also here and there just because I don't want to continually add to that. I think the thing is that for a few weeks there in May, I started not writing as often for some reason. I was like, man, I'm pretty much caught up till October. And I was like, so I can be lazy. And all of a sudden I caught myself in this little like lazy spell. And so
Mm.
I was like, bloggers can't be lazy.
Mm.
So I kind of woke up from that come June, and I kept writing and I kept scheduling the posts out until December 25th. I'm going to let those play out until about November, and then in November I will do it for, I'll try to keep up, like write 4 blog posts and schedule them out for, I'm just going to try to keep it to about, every 60 days. 60 days is about as far as I think you want to go.
So you just leave them in your WordPress editor? Is that how you
I
do it?
leave them in the WordPress editor, ready, scheduled, and there's even videos that I have on YouTube that are unlisted that all I do is I go in, I make them public, and just make them public. That's it. Save, and then they go live. So
You do a video with each of your posts?
95 to 99% of my blog posts have video in them.
So is it basically like a visual version of what you wrote?
It's an exact visual version of what I wrote. I take them through everything that I wrote in there, from bullet points to, if it's like 5 tips for, new bloggers, then I will walk them through those 5 tips on my whiteboard.
Yeah, makes sense. Aside from reaching more people, obviously through YouTube,
Mhm.
do you find that like helps your readers to comprehend the information?
It does. As a matter of fact, I get more compliments with that when people go, sometimes I see those on-screen recordings and all that stuff, but Dave, I love the whiteboards because it's like I'm sitting in a classroom, but it's a cool classroom and it's fun because it's your office. And I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear that. And I hear that quite often. They're just like, you write it out on the board and you're all excited and funny here and there. And sometimes you're not so funny. I was like, well,
This
but
is
people love that. They do. They connect with it.
yeah.
So,
This is a kind of a spontaneous question. I've noticed you haven't said anything about live stream video, and I'm noticing around the marketplace or the social media, a lot of people are. It's losing its luster. It's not proving to be an effective tool. Do you find that to
yeah.
be true?
When Blab cut itself off with almost little or no warning, really, a few days ago, a week ago, that was pretty hard for a lot of people.
Yeah,
However, I actually stopped using Blab. I like Livestream, don't get me wrong, and I think Livestream's going to be around for a long time. I think it's going to be kind of
I
uh,
agree.
I think it will. I don't think it will have that kind of effect that people thought it would have.
Yeah.
ever. I'm probably on the same fence as you, as like, it's awesome and it's great and it's fun and it's great to interact with people, but at the same time,
It
it's just a
doesn't.
way to sit there and go out there, and it's like a webinar service. I
Yeah.
use Zoom personally now. I'm on Zoom. I pay for Zoom. I use Zoom. I just do webinars and invite my list to them. And I will
Yeah.
also invite those on social media. So I will publish that out. And I think that's what people should do. Get on something like Zoom or, Google Hangouts or something like that. And just make sure to invite people via your social media and your email list. Just make sure that you invite them. Invite everybody. And
Yeah.
those who will. But, sitting around on live stream all day, I'm sorry, I got 5 kids. I ain't got time to sit around on live stream all day. And
Right.
besides, sometimes I think that, with all the little video bombers and all those crazy guys, just like being dorks.
Right.
That was such an 80s term, dork. Yeah, I'm an 80s kid.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. So, I just think that, personally speaking, I don't think live stream ended up being as powerful as I
Hmm.
don't think as it could have been. I won't say should be or whatever, but it could have been.
Well,
That's
apparently,
what.
not just from my own experience, but a lot of marketers are finding that it doesn't have a good replay value. Like once it's
Yeah.
done, it doesn't seem to be working.
As a matter of fact, I noticed that the webinars that I record and then go load to YouTube and put on my blog get more views faster than any crazy blab ever did, or a Periscope or anything else.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, you can optimize that stuff. You optimize it properly for YouTube, that webinar, and
Hmm.
it'll bring people in there. So,
Right.
most of the time, about 80, 90% of the time that I actually make a video on YouTube, I end up above the fold on the first page, no matter what the results are, search results.
Hmm. Wow.
So, how does that happen? Because I have over 400, 500 videos sitting on there. I have multiple YouTube channels. I've been around for a while, and I embed them on my blog posts. As a matter of fact, my viewership statistics of basically embed, you have that little pie there chart and it says
Hmm.
embed. That's probably about 40% of my videos are viewed on from embed, which means they're on my blog, because
Okay.
that's the only other place I put it.
Right.
And my time on site runs about 7 minutes. Average page views is about 3.7.
Hmm.
And my bounce rate is about 9.11% or 9.12.
Yeah. Sweet. Those are great statistics.
Yeah.
So you're not using Facebook Live, is that right?
No, I thought about using it, but they wanted a little bit more than Zoom, and me and my wife are real cheap. We're pretty frugal people. And if I can save a few bucks, I like Facebook, but I hate Facebook.
Right.
I don't live on Facebook, but I have to be there. Personally speaking, I like Instagram and Twitter. I
Hmm.
really do. I love Instagram. Instagram's a great place. I just share personal stuff there all the time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it too. I need to spend more time on Instagram.
I think as bloggers are concerned, bloggers need to spend a lot of time on places like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
Hmm.
We need to be sharing our content out there, but we also need to be living lives off of, our blogs and sharing out that kind of just our personalities, just who we are
Yeah.
there. Because
Right.
sometimes I think bloggers can get locked up on a keyboard, and it's just, I mean, that's it. We think that, it's going to just be our words. It's not just our words. It's who
Yeah.
we are
Would
as
do you
people.
would you describe yourself as a extrovert?
Yeah, I would. I would love to be one of those introvert bloggers, but I'm not. As much as I try to be, no, I like being out and about. I love blogging and being me in the videos.
Yeah.
I love,
What do you say to the introvert blogger that maybe is more comfortable behind the keyboard than in front of a
if you're
camera?
behind the keyboard and it is and it's effective for you, keep doing what you're doing. If it's not effective and you know that you need to be doing something else, like I've got some people I'm coaching right now, and they're very nervous about doing video. They want to do podcast. And I said, podcast is great, but video really resonates and it really personalizes that information. So here's the deal. Before you decide to hide away from video, try it out first. And don't just try it out once or twice like a new blogger comes and starts blogging and then quits because they're like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. It's been 30 days.
Hmm.
Get out there and actually make a video for every blog post for the next 90 days. Every blog post you publish, put out a short video for it.
And you think you
Watch
can just use your iPhone and just do it real quick?
Use your iPhone. You know what? I live in a day and age where I have a selfie stick. At first, I wasn't sure. Do I beat somebody with this, or do I put a phone in this thing? I'm not
Right.
really sure yet. Um, but
Play baseball with it. Yeah.
yeah, really. Um, I use this thing. I actually use it, and I put up videos. Like usually on Fridays, I'm doing this call today on a Friday, so I didn't really do it today. But on a Friday, I'll put out little 2 minute like videos, for my MLM business or for my coaching business,
Hmm.
and just a little something on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And I love it. It gets me out there. And actually, because of being, an extrovert, I guess you would say, it actually allows for more people to get to my blog.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take that extrovert part of me and make people an introvert on my blog. So,
Right.
by pulling them in and getting them to read my blog. So actually by being out there and living, in marketing off-site as well, brings more people to your site.
Yeah.
So you've got to be out there. You've got to be engaging. You've got to be social today. Even if it's just a little bit, be on Instagram. If you're a total introvert blogger, I'm going to tell you right now, at least share photos of, life here and there on Facebook or Twitter, or Instagram,
Hmm.
something.
David, you obviously have a passion for sharing or teaching people how to succeed at blogging, whether they're extroverts or introverts. In fact, on your web page or your About Me page, you say that, quote, helping others build their own unique income generating web presence brings me the most joy,
Mhm.
unquote. So, can you share with us a couple of examples of this when you felt absolute joy with your results?
Yes, I have there's one gal out here, Dr. Becky Fitness. She's really getting into the groove this year. She started out around the end of December, the last week of, and then she really started getting in around the end of January, blogging and stuff like that. Started rolling, bringing in some lists, started making some money about 2 or 3 months into it, and she's just on the go today, and it's great, and it's just wonderful to see that. William Jevning was an author who sat around, and he's a specialist in what do they call that? Cryptozoology with Bigfoot. He was on a very popular podcast for a while, kind of lost out on that because of just differences, I guess. And he didn't know what to do after that. And one day I was like, I just decided to reach out to him and I said, let me build your website. Let me build your blog and I'll put it together. And all I want is my name on it. Because I
Hmm.
was like, you have books and you're brilliant at this. And I'm a total believer. So I reached out to him. We started that back in January. Today, his Facebook page is almost at 1,000 followers. He's about to light up his first live membership podcast. And right now we're seeing, gosh, I don't even know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hits a day to his website. Sometimes I think upwards of like 1,500 in a day. It's crazy.
Hmm.
And he's doing wonderfully. He's getting more and more sales of his books on Amazon. Another one is a good friend of mine named Frank. Frank came to me about 3 years ago. He was running some basic sales funnels from the great minds of, out there, of those master guru affiliate marketers. But he knew he was missing something. And he was like, I think you can fill this void. So I got him set up with a good sales funnel, a good email marketing campaign. And what we did is we added in blog and a video. So we added blog and video marketing to that kind of content marketing diet of his. As a matter of fact, at the end of 2015, Frank ended up with the seven-figure income. And so that was awesome to see. Me, I haven't had that seven-figure income a year. So do I want that? For me, it really, and I know a lot of people say this and sometimes they don't mean it, but really, in all honesty, it's not about the money. The money pays my bills. The money gets us out to lunches and pays for books for homeschool. For me, it's just
Mm,
about the freedom. It's about knowing that after this call right here, it's Friday and I'm out till Monday. And guess what? On Monday, I'll be done by noon.
mm.
And, for me, that's what it was all about. It wasn't just about maximizing profit as much as it was just maximizing other people's profits.
Yeah,
Um,
those are
if I
fabulous
could,
stories.
yeah, because I mean, these people have freedom now. I mean, Frank went over to England to speak. To the UK, this rough, gruff military guy gets paid to go to England to speak about
Wow.
internet marketing. And then he mentions my name, and I'm like, who am I?
I mean,
You know?
yeah, these testimonies remind me once again of my post, how to win a gold medal in blogging, where
Yes,
you see the student achieves more than the coach.
exactly. And I think that that should be every blog coach's and internet marketing coach's desire is to make sure that your students, exceed everything that you've ever done. Because if you can
Mm,
do that, I mean, I'm telling you, it feels awesome. Right now, my good friend that I go to church with, Troy and his wife, they're doing MLM. They started a blog, and I'll tell you this right now, and she's going to listen to this, and I'm telling you, she was kind of an introvert with this stuff,
mm,
but she's starting to make that move and starting to get to be an extrovert of this.
mm.
And the thing is that just recently they sold some product through their website and their blog, and they actually got some more signups to where she's starting to make enough to cover mortgage every
Yeah.
month
No,
within
that's
just a few
great.
months. That's awesome,
Wow. Yeah.
you know? And I told him, I was like, just do it. Don't worry
Right.
about it. Just do it. I don't care how you
Exactly.
feel right now. Just do it.
Yeah.
You're writing words, you're talking on a video, and just smile and say what you got to say. That's it. So,
Great. Great stuff. So,
mhm,
David, aside from blog consulting,
mhm.
um, now you have also done some MLM business. You have mentioned that
Yes.
several times.
Mhm,
And I want to take a moment to focus on multi-level marketing because many people are doing that.
mhm,
And I had an MLM business from 97 to 2001. So
mhm.
for me, it's been a while, and the internet scene has definitely changed since then. So today, how important is it for a blogger? For how important is blogging for the MLM business owner?
Well, I mean, you could sit there and look at a good friend of mine, Ray Higdon, and his wife, Jessica, and they both have blogs. Without a blog, it's like Ray said, the blog is the hub. It's where you bring everybody. It's where you bring the conversation down from everybody in the world to just you and that person.
Mm,
Because you take, if they're on YouTube, well, you've got related videos all over the place, advertising all over the place, so many distractions. You go to Facebook, mom's little message popped up, I need more cat food. What do? You got to go get cat food, so you drop everything.
yeah.
But if you come to my blog, right, and you've got that video there, and they're listening to that video and scanning and reading some of that content along the way, there's a conversation starter. This is where it all starts, or this is
Mm,
where it's continuing, where you're not only have you already built the authority, but now you're gaining trust. You're starting to build trust and rapport with these with that potential, prospect or lead. And so that blog is a must today. As a matter of fact, I just started back into MLM myself, actually, and
mm,
becoming one of the fastest growing online recruiters in the company's history, and it's pretty awesome.
mm.
Um, but and people in my group are like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like, I got my blog, I got my video on my blog, I got great imagery, I got a great message and I'm following along with my health and wellness plan because to tell you the truth, the one thing about blogging we all need to watch out for is weight gain. I
All
went
right.
from 165 to 225 real fast. And so now I'm actually down to 208 and feeling really
Great.
good. And so it's been really, really awesome.
Yeah.
But that's it. They asked me, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm journaling what I'm doing as far as my weight loss is concerned. And at the same time, I'm offering help as far as internet marketing is concerned for MLM. Anybody, I don't care if you're in my program or not. I don't care if you
Mhm.
partner with me or not. I'm just offering, here's what I do. And here's what I think about these things or whatever it is. Just offering the information out there.
Yeah.
And so, that does, it gives me leads, it gives me prospects, but at the same time, it puts me out there and it connects me with these people, and I'm telling you, if you're a blogger, I think every blogger should be in some sort of MLM today as a part of their income stream.
Hmm.
Because as we look at the economy today and how it's changing, well, it's changing in favor even more of the entrepreneur
Hmm.
because the internet gives us that. Our
Hmm.
blog gives us that access to really monetize it any way that we want. So why not monetize it in multiple streams and
Yeah.
include MLM as one of those? Because people ask me, what's the best income stream out here for bloggers? And I tell them there's really no such thing. It's very rare to find a passive income as far as a blog is concerned. If
Hmm.
somebody was to actually look up the definition for passive and then started looking at affiliate marketing, you'd find out they're two totally different things. But MLM,
Very true.
truly residual, truly passive. And when it comes to
Hmm.
blogging and you want a passive residual income, then MLM is the best way to go.
I'll have
So
to take a closer look at MLM again.
yeah,
What?
it's better. It's better.
Okay, so what are a couple of quick tips for the MLM blogger out there who's listening? What are a couple of tweaks they could make on their blog right now?
I love SumoMe. SumoMe is a great tool. As a matter of fact, I have talked to Noah, one of the creators there, several times on Skype. As a matter of fact, you remember how it used to cost like $100 for everything every month?
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
educational stuff as well as
Yeah, they wanted $100 a month to use
right.
everything, and now it's like $25 a month or $20 a month, and you pay up annually. Well, that's
Hmm.
because he hit a whole bunch. He hit like 100 of us, and he said, "What would you really be willing to pay for this?" And I said, "Dude, I will not pay more than this because I'm cheap." That was my
Hmm.
answer. And he was like, "You know what, Dave? That's what I'm hearing from everybody else. We're going to fix this issue." And the next thing you know,
Hmm.
we all got new prices. So I pay $20 a month. I paid up in advance every year. So it's like, $200 for me, whatever it is. Um,
Sumo me.
Sumo Me. If you don't, Sumo Me increased my opt-in rate by, I think, somewhere right around 17 to 18%,
Hmm.
almost overnight. I mean, it was sick. When you go to my website, you'll see that there's a welcome mat.
Hmm.
That welcome mat works. It works wonders. I've got a nice little pop-up. I also have an image share. If you hover over the images in my blog posts on either my .me or my .com site, you'll see that there's the little things pop up that says Twitter or Facebook. You can actually tweet out that image with the title and the link to that particular blog post. And that's how I like to share my content. So this way on Twitter, I get that image in there every time instead of just, characters, text.
So
This
Sumo
way
me provides the welcome mat.
provides the welcome mat, provides pop-ups, scroll-ups, image share, Google Analytics. SumoMe is kind of like the all-in-one little tool, I think, for lead gen and tracking. And
Hmm.
it's perfect. And it's
Okay.
just one lightweight plugin that you can use, and it's very lightweight. Um,
I've heard of Sumo me. I have not used it at
it
this point.
is pure awesome.
Okay.
In 80s terms, it's rad. It's
Totally
rad.
tubular, dude.
It's tubular. It's rad. I would not go without Sumo Me today. And I've
Hmm.
been using Sumo Me now for about 8 months, 9 months, and I just couldn't
Okay.
imagine my blog without it.
Okay.
Um,
I'll link to Sumo me in the show notes.
that is something that is, I think, every MLM and even new blogger needs. I think especially for new bloggers, no matter what your industry is, that's a great way to start getting subscribers real fast.
Okay.
Um, Another thing for MLMers is to make sure that you're sharing your blog posts out. Make sure that you've got imagery out there when you're sharing that content out there. Make sure that your MLM blog is not just all business, but make sure that it kind of
Mm-hmm.
combines what a blog used to be and what it started out as more of a journal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of something that's missing today with
Mm-hmm.
MLM blogs that are out there. Most of them are very like, lead magnet, attraction marketing, blah. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I'm an
Very direct
MLM.
sales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And here I talk about technical stuff, but at the same time, I'm journaling right now my 21 day, 21 day fix from Beachbody.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing right now. And so I'm journaling that out every day. And, every week I'm throwing out a blog post and it'll either be something about internet marketing or blogging or whatever. But sometimes I'll throw in stuff like, my morning miracle. This is
Yeah.
how I start my days as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And, I'm just writing about, I read my Bible, I pray a little bit, and I jump into my emails, clear those out, check out
Y-
my stats for the day.
Did you say you share your morning miracle with on your blog?
Yeah, I'm actually writing one called My Morning Miracle.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah.
Dot
And
com or
no, it's just a blog post because there's a book out there called Morning Miracle. And
oh, okay.
figured I would play off those words a little bit because I think everybody should have. Um, One of my biggest qualms out here is lazy people.
Yeah.
On Saturday mornings, I was either practicing baseball, chopping wood, or doing something, else other than watching cartoons. So, uh, it's always nice to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning and actually get in, do
Yeah.
work a little, put
Okay.
something into words. That's the best thing that a new blogger, an MLM blogger can do is wake up a little early and put something into words.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. So I've got a question from a listener named Brian,
Hmm.
and he follows the Build Your Own Blog Facebook page, and he let me know there that he wanted to ask you this.
Hmm.
So, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently at your initial launch of your blog?
I probably would have went with a professional theme right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that there could be so many little tiny issues with free themes, even in WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
Um, these theme designers usually leave a lot out of those things. Uh, you know, just period. Plus, sometimes there's links in there for them for like backlinking and stuff that you don't really know. The
Mm-hmm.
best way to tell that is go from page to page and look in the bottom left-hand corner. You'll see little funky links pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And so starting out with a professional blog, because if you're going to start out a blog, you might as well start out professionally in the first place. So some of my favorite developers out here, of course, Studio Press. I got to know Brian Gardner very well. We were friends, and oh, by the way, woo woo to his kid out there in his baseball, getting out there to the All-Star National games. It was awesome.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and starting out with a good professional theme. So Studio Press was great. Also, there's a husband and wife. I use Willow theme. It's a one-page more design, and it's just beautiful. On my MLM site, I use MEX, M-E-K-S, called Sidewalk. But my very, very favorite one is Willow, and it's made by a husband and wife team out of Seattle by the name of Solopine, solopine.com.
Hmm.
And they have some of the most beautiful blogs I have, and just blog designs that I've seen.
Hmm.
My website alone, I can put a video in the header there, or I can have a static image that I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is just, I get a lot of people that look at it and go, wow, this is really nice.
Hmm.
And I get that frequently.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just curious, does SoloPine have an affiliate program?
I think they do have their stuff over at Envato,
Oh, okay.
Themeforest. They also are on Creative Marketplace, the other one. So they do
I
have.
wonder if they're on Mojo.
I don't know if they're on Mojo or not. I
Okay.
don't. Yeah, I haven't checked that. As a matter of fact, I don't even have an affiliate link for their themes on my website, and I think one of the reasons is because I just enjoyed them so much, and they do not do interviews except for they did one for me via email.
Huh.
I would ask them questions. They would send me back an email. Then I put it all together in an interview on my website.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
very, they are introverts to the extreme.
Okay.
They got a great Instagram page, which is pretty cool.
They must be doing pretty well too.
They do very well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of downloads of that Willow theme, and that one page design is just, as you can tell, it's just a gorgeous looking thing. It uses Visual Composer. But back to, it's Brian's question.
Yeah.
Um, Starting out with a good professional theme is the best, I think one of the best places you can start. And the other thing is WordPress.
Hmm.
WordPress, WordPress, WordPress. I had somebody in MLM the other day said, I was about to start my website. Do I use Wix? And I almost
Ugh.
screamed. I thought they might hear me from Cleveland, but I wasn't sure. I was like, no. But no, I tagged him back and said, no, WordPress. And you use WordPress. WordPress is just a great content management system for bloggers.
I was wondering what that noise was. Okay. That was you.
Yes, that was me. I was screaming at her. Yeah, use WordPress, get a professional theme, use SumoMe. SumoMe is a great plugin. Now, do you have to use SumoMe right out of the gate? I think that you could probably wait maybe after the fourth or fifth blog post. Get some content meat behind you and then launch that out because that is a paid for platform and it is going to
Hmm.
cost you $20 a month if you paid up for a year, $25 a month if you don't. So, but
Hmm.
is it worth the price? Oh yeah, very much so. So that's what I would do if you're starting out right now.
Yeah.
That's things that I would do.
Okay.
And get yourself into that mindset to get going and just
Right.
just don't stop. Keep writing, keep going.
Yeah. Good stuff, David. This has been a fabulous interview
Thank
today.
you.
And we're going to wrap up here with the question that I like to ask every guest, which is, David, how has blogging changed your life?
Um, I'm going to give you a really crazy, honest answer that you might not have heard before, but here's the deal, and I'm going to spill my guts here online. You're talking to a guy who came from a very bad home. My father was a drug addict, alcoholic for a very long time. He got clean and sober for the last 25 years, became a Christian and everything else, and that was awesome. But at the same time, I had to drop out of high school when he went to rehab to take over the family business. I never went back to high school, never even got a GED. By the
Mm.
time I was 20, I had a child. I ended up raising that child by myself until he was 9, and then his mom took him until he was 18. By the time I was 22, I'd made enough money to pay for myself to go through Bible college for 2 years. I got a degree there, but I had to pay cash because I didn't have a GED or anything, and they put me on a academic probation for the first year. But I got pulled off that academic probation because I did very well, and then they offered me a scholarship
Mm.
to finish up, but I couldn't because I was a single dad and I really had to work.
Mm.
Going to a private school like that really, you didn't really get a lot of financial aid for that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So I couldn't do that. So I ended up leaving that and just, went to work. Um, I always wanted to write. I always wanted to be my own boss. And I knew that writing or something creative, that's the direction I wanted to go in. When I found blogging, about a year and a half after I started working online, when I found WordPress and I found blogging, and there was this training that popped out in the back office of the affiliate program I was in. It was like blogging with WordPress. And I watched that, and it was like the Lord was just like, bam, here you are, Dave.
Mm.
All this time, this is where it was going. This is where it was heading. And for me, it was almost like a tear in my eye that day. I was like, I can write. I get to write. And for somebody like me who, didn't really have, all that great formal education to get out here and start writing, I'm telling you, anybody can build a successful blog if they just stick with it.
Mm.
Just let it grow on you and grow with it. And I'm telling you, it can be done. You can be successful at anything with a blog, any niche. I don't care if you're hawking socks
Mm-hmm.
Do an affiliate program. If you've got that blog going on and you want to, I thought about opening up a new blog called The Walking Man Walks. And it's just because I love walking. It's a great exercise. And you know what? I walk every morning at 6 a.m. and I walk for 2 miles, up
I'll bet
hills and down hills.
I'll
And I
bet you
listen.
somebody out there is making a killing with socks with their blog.
Yeah. I listen to a friend of mine, Ben Corson. I listen to his sermons. I plug it in my ear. I go for a walk. And then the last half mile of the walk, I unplug from that thing. I pull it out of my head and I just start thinking about what am I going to write about today?
Mm.
And that's really it. And I'm telling you, blogging has changed my life. It made me, I had this problem growing up of not feeling smart enough. And then I figured out that who cares? Because I was smart enough anyways. And I just got in here and I just started writing. I just started blogging. And that just made me happy. It just made me happy. And that's what changed my life. That's how it changed my life. It fulfilled me.
Love it. Love closing out with that. That is great. David, where can people connect with you online?
DavidBoozer.com. DavidBoozer.com is my main site for internet marketing and blogging. I am an MLMer as well. I'm in network marketing. I have a new blog at davidboozer.me, M-E, and that's just for fun. You don't have to put that on the blog or anything, man. It's just, there it is. It's out there. But davidboozer.com is my main site.
No, I will.
do,
I'll be linking to it in the show notes.
Yeah, I do have a full internet marketing coaching system that's absolutely free there. You can just subscribe to get it. And I do full WordPress blog setups for people, professional blog setups, and I've done them for a lot of people now. So good stuff out there. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah,
I like the design side of blogs too. That's one of my other favorite subjects out here. So, yeah.
Are you a designer?
I don't, well, what I mean by design is branding them out, taking what's there as far as the theme is concerned, and then working with that to create that branded blog feel, like William Jevning. That one, Jevning, Jeving, is just Jevning, WilliamJevning.com. I love that video header there. It's creepy forest. It's awesome. But I love doing blog design and branding and stuff like that. It's good stuff.
David, I've really enjoyed talking with you today on the Blog Chronicles.
You too, man. I love following you on Facebook too.
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely enjoy following you as well.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Alrighty, sir.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Blog Chronicles. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on YouTube or iTunes and leave a rating or review to help other bloggers find us. If you want to chat, look me up on Twitter at Matt Loomis. Next time on the Blog Chronicles, we'll sit down with Rand Fishkin. He's the founder and former CEO of Moz, who now holds the title The Wizard of Moz. Come join us next time on the Blog Chronicles.